27 minutes past 8. Welcome back to Sunrise today. Well, now we shift our attention in the meantime to the Ebola threat, yes, as you might have heard it. Well, Dr. Bamidele Oke joins us now. He's a research fellow with infectious diseases. He's also a clinician at the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much.
Does this unit or this department of yours also collaborate or work with the Center for Disease Control? We do have a CDC in this country, don't we?
Yes, we have. In fact, all the sectors involved collaborate. Nigerian Institute of Medical Research has its own emergency preparedness unit that normally they will send out to respond to threats. Basically, they've been doing that for cholera. At the moment, we don't have Ebola yet in Nigeria. And I should say that I also wear under cap. I'm also representing Professor Omilagu of the College of Medicine, University of Lagos. There's been this arrangement for a while that all viral hemorrhagic diseases, particularly Lassa virus, they have the samples sent to his lab. And about 2 weeks ago, we received a sample from Nasarawa, and then we confirmed it was dengue, and it was reported back. There was dengue virus, not Ebola. And it was reported back to the minister. And I guess it was based on that the minister came out to say that we don't have Ebola yet. So all these departments will collaborate. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control is actually empowered to carry out surveillance for disease outbreak. While NIMA should carry out research, that's the mandate to carry out research. And of course, you would have some special people like Professor Melabu, as a foremost virologist.
So, carry out research based on threats or diseases?
No, the mandate of NEMA generally is to carry out research on disease of public health importance.
Oh, okay.
That's the mandate of the institute.
Okay, so we are on an alert concerning this Ebola threat, just checking and making
yes,
sure.
Yes, we're on alert. We're on alert.
Does this scare you? Because now some news coming in now says that the Ebola virus that has killed, scores of people in West Africa, in the region, is a new strain, and that they don't think it came from other African countries. Do you think, are you afraid that the probability that we could get it in Nigeria is higher, or could be higher, especially since now they're not sure of the source?
Well, being a new strain does not remove the fact that it can get to Nigeria. Actually, Ebola virus, there are 4 different species of Ebola virus. And the initial one that we all knew is called the Zaire Ebola virus. And then there's the Sudan Ebola virus. These two are notorious for outbreaks and fatality. The first outbreak was in Sudan and Zaire, in a village called Nasara in Sudan in 1976. And then they had about 53% casualty. And then also in 1976, again, about the same time, they had an outbreak in Yambuku, that's the village. And that Yambuku is very close to Ebola River. And that's where the name Ebola virus comes from. So, and then that one had about 90% fatality. So that one from Yambuku is called the Zaire Ebola virus, while the Sudan one is called Sudan Ebola virus. There's another one.
And they're all different strains?
They are different species.
They work in different ways?
Like just by showing the fatality from the Zaire one, it shows that it causes more danger. But they are all viruses, but they're just a little bit different. Now, the current one, again, in fact, I just saw this report yesterday. It was published yesterday in the New England Journal of Medicine by a group. And as a new publication, and they report that it's a Zaire Ebola virus, but a new strain. That means they just found one or 2 things different from it. And then from what we have seen so far, about 120 people have died. So that means it's actually, a very virulent strain of that Zaire. But it doesn't change the fact that it can be transmitted to any part of West Africa. By the moment we have it in Guinea, Liberia, and then Mali.
Well, so far so good. We haven't heard much in terms of people still dying. It was seen that it's been curtailed and it's under control. Does that give us some measure of, some measure of comfort, so to speak?
Well, it should, because this paper has a number of experts. One of the experts is Professor Milabu's contemporary, Stephen Gunter, in Hamburg, Germany. Is instrumental along with Professor Milabu, in establishing the Lassa fever virus center at Erua in Ogun State. So he's somebody that has been used to outbreak of diseases. So he also visited this place. So there are some standard procedures that normally should be invoked when any of these viruses are observed. So what should give us more comfort is that have we invoked those standard procedures. That's what should give us the real comfort, because definitely they are doing it over there with the array of experts.
So you've raised the question, have we?
Well, I'm a scientist and a clinician. I'm not a politician or a policy maker. But I know that the minister directed NCDC Nigeria that they should, produce jingles, they should produce leaflets to get people informed. But that's just one of the components of the standard procedure that should be in place. Basically, first thing is to get people aware, especially the health workers, so that they'll be able to identify the symptoms. Because we've not had this outbreak before. Probably a number of people just have read it in the book. So they should be able to identify these symptoms. We should have isolation rooms. Yeah, most hospitals will claim they have isolation rooms. Where I trained, we had an isolation room. But remember that we didn't have, all the emergency things, all the equipment and resources that should be used should be provided in that room. And then we don't even design our buildings, to accommodate such things. Such a room should have a toilet, should have a changing room, should have bed, and everything in that room should be dedicated to that particular room.
Let's talk about mode of transmission, because now I'm looking at some of those pictures on television. That's a bat, and you can also see some other animals. Tell us more about this Ebola virus, how it's been transmitted. Is it from animal to humans, or from water, or is it airborne?
It's actually, for a long time it was said unknown, but now we know that the fruit bat is one of the natural hosts of that. And basically, it's been observed that from ill animals, chimpanzees, gorillas, when people have contacts with them, that they can get infected with the virus. And then they cannot, human beings are non-natural hosts. But when we get infected, we can transmit it from person to person.
When you say contact, how? Touching them or what?
Yeah, but we're actually talking about, well, we noticed that they didn't say that it broke out in Lagos. We're talking about, the forests. And that's where you get this kind of bats in the first place. So in the forest, and Africa is blessed with very good forest. Then you have chimpanzees, monkeys. I should also say that in countries where they rear things like monkey, like the Philippines and China, they have monkey farms. They have a particular type of Ebola virus, Reston Ebola virus, that they noted amongst them. But this has not caused fatality in humans. But when they import these animals to the US, they've detected the Ebola virus in those animals. So when humans get accidentally infected, then humans can now transmit it from one person to the other, and that's where the danger comes in. And eventually, because of the symptoms also, it's not the kind of disease that somebody will keep at home. They will take to the hospital. And then if people are not careful, you can now start transmitting it in the hospital. We call it nosocomial infections.